Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take one really fascinating topic and get right inside it. Today we're diving into Dirty Hole by Vester. I know it's resonated with you.
It's a really great pick. It showcases what Velister does so well, blending industrial rock with these orchestral, even spiritual
Yeah,
elements.
like it's a whole sonic world.
Yeah.
And speaking of worlds, before we get too far, let's set the scene for everyone listening.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine this huge echoing space. You can almost feel the air is thick, heavy, and that's what Dirty Hole drops you into, right into that atmosphere.
It's not a comfortable place to be, that droning bass line. And the way John Crosby's vocals are layered, distorted, it creates this feeling of unease, almost like something's wrong, off balance. What does that initial impact make you feel?
It's like a physical reaction. I get a tightness in my chest,
Yeah.
but it's also strangely compelling. Like I can't look away from something disturbingly beautiful.
That's such a great way to put it, disturbingly beautiful. That duality is woven all through the song, and nowhere is it more apparent than in the lyrics.
Okay, let's get into the lyrics then. Dirty Hole doesn't shy away from heavy themes.
Right.
Guilt, shame, this deep yearning for purification.
And it's not just that those themes are present, it's how raw and how unfiltered they are. Take that central line. I want to love you, but I don't know how. It's this desperate plea, almost a confession of being broken, unable to connect.
The first time I heard that line, it really hit me hard.
Yeah.
Because haven't we all felt that at some point? You know, that desire to love, to be loved, but feeling like something inside of us is holding us back.
Exactly. And that's where the dirty hole imagery comes in. What do you think that represents? Is it a literal wound or a metaphorical stain on the soul?
I think it's really open to interpretation, which is part of what makes it so powerful. It could be past trauma, bad decisions, the weight of our own flaws. Whatever keeps us from that pure connection the song seems to be yearning for.
It's interesting because some critics have called Dirty Hole a modern-day psalm. You know, it has that same sense of spiritual longing, wrestling with something bigger than ourselves.
But unlike a traditional psalm, there's no clear resolution. No comforting answer is offered, which honestly feels more true to life, right?
Yeah.
We don't always get those neat, tidy endings.
That's such an insightful point, and I think that's why this song resonates so deeply with people, because it's not afraid to sit with the discomfort and to acknowledge the messiness of the human experience. And it does it in a way that's brutally honest and incredibly artistic.
Let's talk about that artistry, because musically, Dirty Hole is this masterpiece of contradictions. You've got these heavy industrial beats, but then you have these ethereal, almost Gregorian chant-like vocals, this incredible blend of darkness and light, aggression and fragility.
The way those elements are layered, the way the song builds and builds to this almost cathartic climax, it perfectly mirrors that internal struggle that the lyrics are describing. It's like the music itself is a physical manifestation of that dirty hole, you know, that yearning for something more.
It's sonic alchemy, turning pain and darkness into something beautiful and profound.
And that's VAST's signature. They take these difficult emotions, these uncomfortable truths, and they wrap them in the sonic landscape that's both unsettling and strangely alluring.
Which brings us to the bigger question. What is it about Dirty Hole that makes it so impactful, so enduring? Why does this song, with its darkness and struggle, continue to resonate with listeners years after its release?
Because I think it speaks to something universal, something that's hardwired into the human experience, that feeling of being flawed, of longing for connection, you know, searching for meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and meaningless.
Yeah. It's a reminder that we're not alone in those struggles. We all have our dirty holes,
Yeah.
our demons, the things that keep us from fully loving and being loved. But maybe, just maybe, acknowledging those things, confronting them head on, is the first step towards healing.
That's such a powerful thought. And it really gets to the heart of what Dirty Hole is all about. It's not about offering easy answers or neat resolutions. It's about shining a light into the darkness, acknowledging the shadows within ourselves, and finding a way to make peace with them. That's what I find so fascinating about art, and music in particular. It can hold up a mirror to our own internal struggles, even the ones we try to keep hidden. Did Dirty Hole do that for you? What personal dirty holes did it make you think about?
It's like you're reading my mind. Because there were moments listening to it where I felt like John Crosby was singing directly to me about things I thought I was dealing with alone. You know,
Yeah.
It's almost like this weird comfort knowing someone else has been there,
Yeah.
you know, in that dark, messy place.
That's the power of vulnerability. When someone's that open, and honest about their pain, it creates a space for others to feel less alone in their own struggles. It's this unspoken permission to say, hey, me too.
Absolutely. And it's not just about wallowing in the darkness, though. Dirty Hole, even with all its rawness, it still hints at this longing for something better.
You're right. It's not hopeless. Remember that line we talked about? I want to love you, but I don't know how. It's a confession, but it's also a declaration of desire. The narrator wants to love, wants to connect, but something is blocking them.
And that's where I think the real depth of the song lies.
Yeah.
It's not just about pain. It's about that struggle to overcome that pain, to reach for something more.
And isn't that the essence of the human experience, this constant push and pull between our darkness and our light, our flaws and our aspirations?
It's like Dirty Hole is saying, yeah, life is messy. You're going to screw up. You're going to have regrets, but don't let that define you. Keep striving. Keep reaching for that love, that connection, that purification.
Which makes me think about Valérist's work more broadly. They're not a band known for easy listening or feel-good anthems. There's always this sense of searching, questioning, confronting difficult truths.
Yeah, and Dirty Hole is no exception. It pushes you, challenges you, makes you uncomfortable at times. But there's also a strange beauty to that, isn't there?
Absolutely. The beauty of authenticity, not shying away from the complexities of life. It's something I think Vast does so well, creating these sonic landscapes that are both beautiful and unsettling, just like life itself.
Okay, so for those listening who might be new to Vast,
Yeah.
where would you recommend they start? Is Dirty Hole a good entry point? Or are there other songs that might be a better introduction to their sound and their message?
That's a great question. Dirty Hole is definitely a powerful statement, but it might be a bit intense for a first listen. If someone is completely unfamiliar with Vast, I might recommend starting with something like Here, which is also a very emotionally charged song, but perhaps a bit more accessible in terms of its musical structure.
I love that song. It's another one that really gets under your skin. And it showcases Vast's range so well, from those quiet, introspective moments to those explosive, almost apocalyptic crescendos.
Exactly. A great introduction to their signature blend of industrial rock,
Yeah.
electronic elements, and those soaring, almost operatic vocals. And from there, you can delve into their other albums and discover the depth and breadth of their artistry.
Because VST is one of those bands
Mm.
that really rewards deep listening. You can hear something new, discover another layer of meaning every time you revisit their music.
And that's what we encourage you to do. Go back to Dirty Hole. Listen again with fresh ears. Pay attention to the subtle nuances in the music, the layered vocals, the way the instruments build tension and release.
Yeah. And think about how the song connects with your own experiences. What are your dirty holes? What are you struggling with? What are you yearning for?
Because music, at its best, is a conversation. It's a dialogue between the artist and the listener, a shared exploration of the human experience. And Dirty Hole is a powerful invitation to join that conversation.
Beautifully said. And I think that's the perfect note to wrap up our deep dive into Dirty Hole by Viast. It's a song that stays with you, challenges you, makes you think about the world and your place in it in a whole new way.
And we hope this deep dive has given you a deeper appreciation for the song's complexity, its artistry, and its enduring power.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked about the darkness, the struggle, the dirty holes we all carry. But what about the flip side? That longing for love, purification, that yearning to connect. What do you think as listeners can we learn from that aspect of Dirty Hole?
That's such a great point to end on, because it would be easy to come away from the song feeling heavy, defeated. But I think there's a message of hope woven in there too.
I agree. It's like, yeah, acknowledge the darkness, but don't let it consume you. That desire for something better is what keeps us moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that spark of the divine. Even in the midst of our dirty holes, that reminds us that we're capable of more. We can love, we can connect, we can strive for something better.
Maybe, just maybe, the act of acknowledging our flaws, of sitting with that discomfort, is what ultimately starts to heal those dirty holes. It's like by bringing them into the light, they lose some of their power over us.
I love that, because it's not about erasing those parts of ourselves. It's about integrating them, accepting them as part of the whole. And it's that wholeness, that acceptance, that allows us to truly connect with ourselves and with others.
So as you go back to your day, maybe put Dirty Hole on repeat, or maybe explore some other VST songs, and keep this conversation going in your own mind. What resonates with you? What are you taking away from this deep dive?
And remember, even in the darkest corners, there's always beauty to be found. There's always that possibility of connection. Healing. Love. Keep searching for it. Keep fighting for it.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Dirty Hole. We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic, ready to unpack it all for you. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those conversations going.